Hey, gang, coming up on our Finding Better podcast, Hunter Jensen is joining me, and we're talking all things AI, artificial intelligence. Now, if you're intimidated by it or you're scared of it, we're going to simplify it. It is so easy and so amazing. And if you're thinking about using it for your business, we're going to talk about the right ways to do it and the wrong ways to do it. It's a wonderful conversation. Now, moving forward, we're going to do more and more episodes on artificial intelligence. Why? Because it has become such a big part of our lives and it's going to be all over the place. And there are so many opportunities to use AI to help you find better living and find a better life. And so I'm excited. I'm excited. Please share this. There's a lot of people out there, so many people out there that need to hear this, that want to hear this. And please subscribe. Here we go. Hello, 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 and welcome back to our Finding Better podcast. My name is John Suzuki, and I am your host. And this is where we share real life experiences and real life wisdom of people who have been there and done that. Because sometimes the best path to success is to follow in the footsteps of others who've been there too already. And so it's not about theories, it's not about opinions, it's not about academics, it's about real life experiences that we share with you. We have a really, really fun conversation we're going to have today. We're going to talk about artificial intelligence, and I have Hunter Jensen joining me. Hunter, welcome to Finding Better. Thank you for joining me.
Pleasure to be here, John. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, okay. Let me give folks a little bit of information about you. So, Hunter is the founder and CEO of a company called Barefoot Solutions. It's a digital agency specializing in AI, but they also specialize in data. Okay, I'm going to tell you this. Don't get intimidated, okay? Because we're going to talk about normal human. We're going to talk about this at a business level, but we're also going to talk about it at a human level. This is all about finding better, and AI is an incredible, incredible avenue for us to all find better as we move into the future, the undeniable future of artificial intelligence. So he's also an expert in data sciences and digital transformation. And he's got over 20 years of experience. Hunter's worked with startups and Fortune 500 companies, including Microsoft and Salesforce. And he's implemented technology strategies that drive measurable ROI, return on investments, and helps business harness the cutting edge technologies of artificial intelligence. Hunter, this is going to be a really fun and interesting conversation. I can already feel it.
Me too. I'm excited.
So let's kick this off for normal people like me. Okay. And let's talk about AI in general, right? Because it is something that has, I've been in technology for 40 years, starting with IBM in 1984. And I helped shepherd in, five or six generations of massive technology, from the internet to PCs to, just all that kind of stuff. And I see AI as being something, we thought that the internet exploded and moved people forward really quickly. But I'm feeling like AI is doing it multiple times faster because we're seeing it happening right below our feet and right before our very eyes. So what's up with AI? And why should people care about this conversation?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I hear some people talk about AI as if it's another step in the digital evolution timeline, right?
Hmm.
There's personal PCs and
Right.
internet, and then there was e-commerce and social and mobile and
Exactly.
IoT, and then they like to throw AI on the end of that. And I think that's dead wrong. I don't think
Perfect.
you're on the right timeline.
Good, good.
I
Yep.
think we're on the fire and agriculture and the printing press and the industrial
Yeah.
revolution, and the internet is on that list. The
Yes.
internet
Yes.
and
I
AI.
agree.
That to me, that's the timeline that we're talking about. That's how incredibly transformative this technology is going to be on our entire civilization. That's what I believe. That's how
That is
big of a deal
amazing.
it is. Yeah.
And as you said that, there wasn't a single red flag that came up in my mind. And in fact, it was like, holy cow. I personally have never looked at it that way. But I think you're right. I think the transformative effect that AI is going to have on us is like the Industrial Revolution.
Hmm.
And I actually think it's going to be bigger than the internet. But so as people are listening to this, um, you know, those are big statements.
Hmm.
That is a big statement. So how do you help people get their heads wrapped around what that means and what it's going to mean to all of us?
Yeah, that's the hard part, I would say, because nobody knows what it really means.
Right.
They say, what is it? You need to spend 10,000 hours with something to become truly a master at it. And there isn't really anyone that's done that yet. Generative AI, I want to make a distinction.
Yes.
AI has actually been around for quite a long time, for like 30 years. At my company, we did our first machine learning project for the Department of Defense 10 years ago, right? Predictive
Okay.
analytics, what we called it at the time. But
Right. Right.
that's a neural network. That's the same
Right.
technology that was
Right.
used to train ChatGPT. What's new and what has got everyone abuzz is generative AI, right? Generative AI started in 2017 when a Google researcher published a paper. It was called Attention is All You Need, and it was the discovery of transformer models. Fast
Okay.
forward November 2022, that's when ChatGPT went public, right? And the
Right.
eyes of the world kind of opened to this new category of artificial intelligence, which is generative AI, meaning it can create things based on what it has learned. It's really good at
Got
text.
it.
It's created some images now. We can do some stuff with video that's pretty further behind, but so it's this generative AI category that has kind of shooken up the world and made us all realize that this is coming really, really fast. And what does it mean? And you mentioned like at a personal level. So
Hmm.
this is for the folks that are still have barely dipped their toes in the water. I'm gonna just tell you a few fun use cases that might be practical in your life. These are
Please,
things
please, please,
these
please,
are
please.
things that
Thank
I've
you.
done or I've seen. Um, this was last week. I was in Virginia staying with my parents, and my mother, who is actually an early technology adopter, as well as my father.
Okay.
My dad had the Zach Morris cell phone that you had to carry around in a case, like with the battery,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
first portable
Yeah.
mobile phone.
We called it the brick. Yeah.
Yeah, the brick. You know the brick. You were around for
Yeah.
that. Um,
I used
anyway,
to carry one for sure.
yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
So, my mom said, "Okay, well, I don't." It was crazy storming outside. She was like, "I was gonna go to the store, but I don't really want to go out in this weather, and I only have these certain things in the refrigerator." Uh, and your father has certain dietary needs and blood pressure and stuff. And so I don't know what to make for dinner. And so she went to ChatGPT and she listed out the ingredients she had in the refrigerator and the dietary requirements of my father, as well as what kind of food we like in general. And it whipped up this amazing pasta, like Italian dish with like pork, and it was incredible. It was so good.
That is
And it
so
was like
cool.
that might have been the very first time anybody has eaten that exact meal because it generated it based on our very, very specific needs.
And
And
the and the
so,
and the and the specific ingredients that you
and
had
the specific
available at that
ingredients that you
moment.
had in the
Yeah,
fridge at the
yeah,
time,
yeah.
right? Which
That's
were a little
amazing. That's
weird,
amazing.
right?
Yeah.
And so, to those that are like, gosh, I don't even know what this is or where to start, it's quite simple. You go on your web browser, you go to chatgpt.com, and you ask it questions.
There
It's
you
like
go.
having a personal assistant that's digital. Ask it things. I had to put together my workout routine. as an example. I had very specific things that I'm trying to do with my fitness, and it put together a wonderful workout routine for me. So in your personal life, little things like that. Write a poem for my father-in-law's 80th birthday. I did recently. There's all sorts of fun little things that you can do that aren't
Yeah,
about business. It's just like you said, it's just about
just
your
life.
personal, just
Yeah.
life. It's a helper. It's helpful. It's better than searching on Google. Just ask it questions and you'll be amazed at what you get back.
Yeah, I love that. And thank you for that
Hmm.
because, I hear, I come across a lot of people, a lot of my friends who are just intimidated by it. They're like, oh, it's just, it's bad. It's bad. AI is bad. It's going to take over the world. I saw the Matrix,
Right.
stuff like that, right? Giving people examples like that. I mean, those are real life examples,
Yeah.
right?
And they're
I
really
mean,
helpful. I mean, they're
yeah.
great, super
And
helpful.
and and you can go to ChatGPT and I've done this. I've done it for used it for my vacation planning,
Hmm.
right? I'm thinking about going someplace. What are the best places to see? Where would you it can even recommend places to stay. I
Hmm.
mean, you ask it's just I kind of tell people to look at it as a gigantic instant encyclopedia. And it's just got everything. It's got all the information available at your fingertips. And so my encouragement to everybody is that if you haven't done what Hunter just said to do, start playing, just play with it. Just play
Hmm.
with it, right? Because I'll tell you something, it's the first technology that I ever have experienced where if you don't know how to use it, it teaches you how to use
It
it.
shows you how. It
Right?
guides you.
Yeah.
It's like
You could just
talking.
ask it. You could just
Yep.
ask it. How do I use you? Here's who I am. How best can how can I optimize using you? What are the best ways to use you? And anyway.
Yeah. Another thing I like to recommend, and this is getting into more of the business side of things, which is um, when you have kind of a challenging problem,
Hmm.
uh, actually book time on your calendar to meet with a large language model like ChatGPT. Set an hour aside. This meeting is going to be about this thing, and sit down and lay it all out and explain what's going on, explain what the challenges are, and work with it to see if it can help you. And I'll give you a practical example of this. And I,
Yeah.
I did this last week too, or maybe the week before. Okay. So I have a big demo for the mayor of Virginia Beach
Okay.
on how we're going to use one of our products called Compass to improve the building permit process, which can take years to get a building permit approved in the city.
Hmm.
Okay. And so, I want to demonstrate how maybe it could review a building permit application and at the very least go through the 23-point checklist of the sections that need to be included. Right now, a human does that. It might take 2 weeks to get that off their desk, right? And it should be instantaneous. And so I wanted to put this demo together, and I realized that building permit applications are not public record, which was kind of a surprise. And so I thought, well, how am I going to demo this? And I was kind of banging my head against the wall on it. And I said, all right, well, I'm gonna go meet with ChatGPT and see what they think. And I laid out my problem, and they said, well, we found a template here. Would you like for us to just create a synthetic um, building permit application that you can use in your demo? And I said, what a great idea. That would be
Sure.
wonderful. Please
Yeah.
do. And I was like, and leave a couple things missing so that in the demo, it's not perfect. It's got 20 of the 23 sections or whatever. And it did it. And it worked. And the demo went great. And the mayor said he wants this launched by Q1 of next year. And so, that's just another example of just like problem solving, you know?
Well, the thing that I just want to make sure everybody understands is that when Hunter said schedule time to meet with ChatGPT, and then he said, I met with them. I met with ChatGPT. Okay. So ChatGPT isn't people, but it is I mean, it is as good as people, right? You meet with it, them, the whole pronoun thing.
I don't know their
I don't know how
Chat
to deal
GPT's
with that.
pronouns. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so, so this is sitting down on the keyboard, right, with Chat GPT and just typing in, or you can even speak it. You can even speak into your computer and having this guy. That's brilliant,
Mhm.
Hunter. I've never thought about doing that.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
it's really really effective. I like to think of it as having um, like an executive assistant that knows everything. But
Yeah.
you have to guide them, right? They're still like
Right.
new. They don't know
Right.
about you or your business, but they know
Right.
everything that's on the internet, which is basically true for, these models. So how would you use someone like that? That's like a very simple
Yeah.
way to think about it. Like, what would you have them work on?
Yeah. And you know what, as you were going through that, I was thinking about just this crazy thing. When I was a kid growing up, I mean, no girl wanted to date me. I mean, I was a guy, I was the guy that was just a nice guy sitting in the corner, right? And what flashed on me is if I had ChatGPT, I might go to it and say, all right, listen, this is who I am. I think I'm a nice guy, and just tell it who I think I am. And if I want to attract a person who looks like this or who is like this, what should I do? Then see what it comes back with, right? I mean, it's gonna come back with something, right?
Yeah.
If you want to attract a girl like this, don't do these things. But if you want to attract a girl like this, do those things. I mean, it would be fascinating. It would be fascinating. But
Love it.
I mean, you and I are going back and forth from one extreme to the other extreme, and but hopefully the folks who are listening are starting to get the idea that just start playing with it, and in a lot of ways, it's become kind of my best friend. You know. And certainly one of my smartest.
Yep. And it's a confidant, right? And
Yeah, that's
they're
right.
always
It's a
available,
confidant. Yeah,
you know?
yeah. They'll never tell you to wait. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. All right, let's talk about your business. Okay. And folks, as we talk about business, don't go away. All right, because a lot of the things we're going to talk about will apply to your life, and we're going to wrap it up at the end, back to the personal level, because I have some questions I want to ask Hunter that will be very, very relevant and salient to all of our futures. I don't mean to put you on the spot, Hunter, but I
Mhm.
actually do. So with that, so let's talk about your business. And I guess one of the questions, as you work with businesses and these people are learning about AI, um, how do you recommend? Well, let's start with mistakes. What mistakes do businesses commonly make as they try to implement AI?
The number one mistake that I see, which is very common, is businesses try to implement AI by addressing just single specific use cases
Okay.
versus putting together a more comprehensive strategy for your business, which is what you need. They'll say, well, I think AI could be helpful with, preparing our pitch decks. And so I'm going to go pay $39 a month for this AI thing that helps you make pitch decks. And that's all well and good, but over time, those are just going to pile up. They're not going to talk to each other. They're not going to connect to the data that you have at your business. They're not going to be used consistently across your team. And you're just going to gain a lot of kind of like debt there. Whereas what I am recommending to businesses, a lot of businesses, the opening question is, we know we need a plan with AI and we don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah, I'm sure
that's what
that
I
is.
hear.
Yeah.
That's what I hear more than anything.
Yeah.
And, the key, so where AI is at right now for business is it's about boosting the efficiency and the productivity of your knowledge workers. That's the number one thing that it's most effective at right now.
Right.
Okay, so where do you start? Every business that I've met, every small business and medium-sized business at least, they're either on Microsoft or Google for their kind of office stack, right?
Right. Hmm.
Sign up for Google Gemini or Microsoft CoPilot. You start right there, nice and easy. Give your team the tools to start using large language models and artificial intelligence in their day-to-day operations. That's a nice, easy way to start. It's not expensive and they're very powerful. Uh,
Hmm.
Next step is I like to schedule show and tells or lunch and learns, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
But we do them once a month here. Maybe it's once a quarter, but you tell your team, show some interesting ways that you've been using this new tool that we've provided for them.
Ah,
Okay. And that's very strategic because you can't prescribe the usage of something like this from the top down very well. Just telling him, I need you to use this, figure it out, is not like a great strategy because it's just like in your personal life. It's like, I don't know where even to start or what would be a good place to do this. And so I find that sharing horizontally or even from the younger, less experienced folks at your org who happen to be very AI literate, let that let
yeah,
that bubble up, right? So it's not top down, it's either horizontal
absolutely.
or bubbling up. And so, okay, we've got our kind of office productivity AI suite going, and now we're sharing our experiences with it. And more often than not, someone in the audience will be listening and say, "Well, gosh, I could do that too." Or
Absolutely.
that would work if I changed it a little bit for how I do my job, and that would save me a ton of time. And it's like everyone gets their own executive assistant, and like let's figure out how to use them. So those are like just nice, simple, easy ways to start dipping your toes in, to start using some of this technology without making a big capital investment, without, drastically changing anything in your workforce or anything like that. But just get people exposed to it and talking about it and sharing. And organically, a lot will happen from that. That's what I've been seeing.
Oh my gosh. That is wonderful. That is wonderful. And it's that share, it, okay, so I'm going to use a really terrible example and a really terrible metaphor of what AI can be like. I've never experienced crack cocaine, but I hear it's a one-hit addiction. And it's kind of the same thing with AI. Once you've tried it, it may take a couple of times, but you're going to have that moment where you're going to go, "Oh my God, this thing's amazing." and and you're off to the races. You're off to the races. So what do you do with what do you and your company do?
Yeah, so Barefoot Solutions is a custom software development agency primarily.
Okay.
And so we build, software solutions for, startups, medium-sized businesses, and some enterprise. And that's what we've been doing for over 20 years. Um, Now, the AI is putting that business model in jeopardy in a major, major way. Uh, the reason is that I'm in the business of selling hours of engineering time, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And there are AI-based coding tools that can write code very, very well in minutes, not, in 2 hours instead of 100 hours. All right, well, but what does that mean for my business model and my revenue? Do I only get to bill for the 2 hours, right?
Right.
It's kind of a scary thing a little bit. And so we have been really focused on building out a product. And this product is a way for businesses to host their own large language models with a database for searching through files on their own cloud. And the reason it all came to me over a beer with a buddy who's a patent attorney. And he said, "Man, I wish I could use ChatGPT for my job, but I can't because I'm looking at, you know, a new chip invention design that I need to write a patent application for. I certainly can't upload that into ChatGPT. It's not
Right,
secure."
right, right.
And so I thought, that's an interesting problem. And then I read about all the enterprise like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, BAE Systems, all these major companies. They have
Sure.
all built this already. Goldman Sachs launched GSAI in January of this year. So they've been working on it for the last 18 to 24 months, and they're launching them all this year. And so it occurred to me that smaller businesses and medium-sized businesses, they have the same needs, but they don't have the resources that Goldman Sachs has.
So this is, and the need is to have its own private AI capability
That's right.
because when you're using ChatGPT, it's out in the public domain, right?
That's
And
right.
so having uh your own uh I
AI
don't know,
platform, I
AI
think you
platform.
call it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And also, like, you need it to connect to your other systems, right? You want to be able to
Hmm.
say, "Hey, I just got off the phone with so and so. Can you update the CRM and set a reminder for me 2 weeks from now to follow up if I don't have the thing?" Wouldn't that be helpful instead of right? But you have to be connected to your CRM to do that. That's not Chat GPT is not going to be able to do that, right?
Right,
You
right.
need your own system. So while I know I already talked about, hey, sign up for CoPilot and sign up for Gemini, what will happen is you will reach a point where that's not enough. And you need it to connect to your other non-Microsoft systems, and you need a bigger context window, and you need to be able to search through all the files and all of that. And that's when it's time to deploy like your own AI platform and kind of
Hmm.
own it. So my
Okay.
thesis is that, in 3 years, knowledge workers are going to walk into the office, they're going to sit down to their AI interface, and that is the primary place where they do their job. They say, "Hey, you prioritize my emails. I've got 20 minutes. Give me the top 5 most important emails to respond to." Great. Okay, now I need to prepare this report for my boss. So grab data from there, and you know how to do this because I already taught you and create my TPS report or whatever it is, right? Um, and it becomes it's almost like remember you remember you're at like ERPs were supposed to like solve business problems, not
Yep.
create them, which is kind of what happened instead
Yeah,
because they're
right.
so rigid.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
this to me is like almost an evolution of that where we're not replacing all the other systems. That's what ERPs were supposed to do is rip out
Hmm.
everything and have one thing. And that's so rigid. And if one thing breaks here, everything breaks.
Right.
But imagine a fluid, flexible system that uses all your other systems, but is easy to use. And you can just use natural language to kind of pull it all together and do what it is you need to do that day. That's my vision for like 3, 4 years out. And we built this product Compass to be that for businesses. Now, that's not how I'm selling it because that's a little too much for most people. What I try to do is find that one killer use case.
There you go.
What
There you
would
go.
what would move the needle for you?
Yep. Yep.
This patent attorney, he told me it saves him 8 hours a week. That guy bills $700 an hour. Think about that for the entire firm, right? I
Yep.
have a defense contractor that says I can double the number of proposals that we submit to the government. If we have a similar success rate, that's going to double our revenue. Like just there, just that one thing. So let's focus on that. We'll get that
Right.
in place. And now we have our foot in the door and we have a relationship. And as other use cases come up, we have a nice, safe, secure platform to start, you know, broadening its scope of usage. And so that's where we are right now. It's a brand new product, and we've got a few customers, and we're kind of in go-to-market phase. And there's still custom software work to be done, but we really needed to we kind of shift every 4 years or
Sure.
so, and following the trends in technology or trying to be ahead of them a little. And this is the biggest shift we've made yet. From service to it's a product and a service. There's a lot of customization and
Sure.
connecting
Sure.
systems.
Sure.
I'm calling it Palantir Light, you know, but IBM has been doing this forever, right? Where you have core product software products, and then there's the consultative
You
service
bet. You bet.
around it,
You
right?
bet.
And
Absolutely.
and there was a while here where SaaS was king, and you didn't even want like professional services on your P&L, It was like, why
Hmm.
are you doing this one-off stuff? Just make it one size fits all SaaS. And that has ruled the internet and the startup world for 15 years or however long it's been. But the pendulum is swinging back, and SaaS is not the solution to everything. And services are important, and having it work for you and your business is important. And
Right.
so, and not to mention, SaaS is like you used to have a competitive moat. You'd raise money, you'd go to head down, you'd spend a year building your product, and now you're first to market and you have a competitive advantage. It doesn't take a year anymore, and it doesn't take $1 million anymore. It takes 3 months, and it takes about $100,000. And so anybody can do it. The first mover advantage is gone. So,
Right.
I'm starting to see, this is more of my thinking than like actually what I'm, seeing yet, but I'm starting to see little trends of the pendulum swinging kind of away from SaaS and back to more of a hybrid product and service model. And I think Palantir, and like I mentioned, is like the big success story of that model of this era, of the AI era. Um, so anyway, I'll get off my soapbox for a minute, but that's kind of where I think things are headed, and that's why we've transformed our business in the last, I mean, literally the last 9 months, to kind of make sure that we're ready for what's happening.
That is amazing. That is amazing because as you described your direction and your vision, that's going to happen. It's going
It
to
is.
happen,
It
and
is.
it's just going to be a brain. It's going to be your company brain. It's going to know everything, all the intellectual properties and everything. And but I also loved how you said you don't want to freak people out. Right.
Right. I
And
don't
so,
sell it
and
like I
so,
don't sell that.
yeah, so you find that one use case. And I
Yeah.
love that because folks, that's what we all need to do as you're learning this. Find one use case,
Hmm.
one really valuable use case. And then you're going to go, gee, I wonder if it could do this. And then you're going to do it.
That's
And then
right.
there's a
Like you
crack of the
said, then
whip.
you're hooked. Then you're
Yeah.
hooked. Wow.
Yeah.
If you can show an
Exactly.
ROI, a return on investment with that one killer use case, then it's like, where else can we do this? Right.
That's
And then
right.
then you're off to the races.
That's right. I can't wait to see to follow you guys
Mm.
and see how you guys are doing this because it really is crazy. It really is
Mhm.
crazy, and that's amazing. I will be surprised if you said I think you said 4 or 5 years. I will be surprised if it takes you that long. I'd bring that down to 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, that's conservative.
Don't you
That's
think?
very
Yeah.
conservative.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you why. It's not the technology, it's the people. People don't change as fast as technology, and businesses don't change as fast as the technology either. I'm working with a firm right now who shall not be named, um, and just getting it deployed. There's a big firm, 1,000 people. Just getting it through all the hurdles and security reviews and getting the C levels on board and getting the budget and all these things, it's taking 6, 9 months to do this.
For
The tech
the
is ready.
people.
I could like, I
Yeah.
want this on your servers. Can I please install it? And all the other stuff gums up
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
works.
you're right.
And so when I say 4 to 5, I don't mean the technology. The technology will be there and it's
Got it.
already there. Like we'll be there at my company later this year. But some of these larger companies, they're just, they're tankers. They take a
Fascinating.
while
Yeah.
to turn.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you were talking about going back to you changing your business model from, hourly services, if you will.
Hmm.
I recall a story about a guy who went to his dentist, and this was years and years ago. And when his dentist was like, Doc, you got to pull this tooth. It's killing me. It's killing me. So doctor says, sure, I'll pull the tooth. So he sits him on the chair, gives him the Novocaine, pulls out the tooth, and says, that'll be $300. The guy says, $300? It just took you 2 minutes to
Hmm.
pull out my tooth, and you want to charge me $300? And the dentist says, well, if you like me to take an hour, I'll be happy to. You know? If you think that'll be more worth it. And so so my point is don't discount the deliverables, right?
Right.
And you can measure it by hours or you can measure it by what you deliver. And it sounds like you're on the path to do both, which is amazing. Which is
Hmm.
amazing.
Hmm.
So listen, as we find ourselves more and more productive, one of the things, and I'll give you an example as part of my question. Kids who entered college 4 years ago and they decided to come out, they wanted to graduate with computer sciences degrees or something in STEM. The big tech companies aren't recruiting from colleges anymore. And so these poor people, they went into college thinking, wow, and of course they also went into college during COVID, which sucks. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But these poor kids come out with their diplomas and they go, where's the work? Right?
Hmm.
And so if you take that trend line and you see that AI is just spreading, it's going on, right? It's the intellectual part of things. What do you see in terms of future opportunities and and what people should do who might be concerned about their futures as
Yeah.
workers?
I had a friend whose son was about to go to college, and you know, he's like, what should he major in? And I kind of half jokingly said, we should leave a 4-year undergraduate institution and go learn to be a plumber. They make really good money, and that's not going to go away as fast as some of these other things. And
Right.
that's kind of a scary thought, right? And I don't mean to monger fear in any capacity, but it is a real challenge right now. These graduates this year and next year got really unlucky with their timing.
Totally.
It's really unfair that they just happen to be born in a time where COVID messed up our education system big time, and AI is disrupting entry level jobs big time. I'll never hire a junior engineer out of college again. I won't. I don't need them, and that's hard. And that's hard.
Right. Right.
And so, what do I need? What do businesses need from our entry level people? AI literacy. That's the most important. We're going to be seeing AI literacy degrees, hopefully very soon. Um, I need someone that understands the technology, knows how to use it in a lot of different use cases, including writing code. If you're a computer science graduate, I'm not giving you a test to write out some code for me anymore. I'm giving you a test to use a code generation tool and then tune it.
Right.
I want you to be good at that because I do need that. And so the problem, and why I said half jokingly, but the problem with higher education in general is that it's behind. It's always behind. It takes years to write textbooks and to develop curriculum and to get all the software licenses and all of these things. And, you know, like our undergraduate specifically programs are just like are not giving these students what they need to be successful in the world. And so to speak to that segment of people, I would say your degree is not enough anymore. Right now, you need to work on your AI literacy, and there's a million boot camps and
Hmm.
online learning. There's an AI school that's just launching soon. There's Khan Academy. There, all of this stuff. When I look at a resume and I see, oh, I did a 6 week boot camp for this, and then I did that, and then I did that, that shows me that's a self-starter. That's someone that can teach themselves, that can learn well, that can adapt and change. Those are the most important qualities for these young folks coming out of school because us business owners, we don't know what's coming, really. I have some ideas, but it's really unclear. And then throw in the macro economy and politics and tariffs and all of this. It's very uncertain times for us. And so what I want
Right.
is someone that's smart and that can work hard and that can adapt and change and learn and be nimble and
Yes.
different, right?
Yes.
Be that
Yes.
person. I'm
Yes.
hiring people like that all day. Give me a call if you're that guy or gal and let's talk because that's
Oh
what
my gosh.
that's what we need to see.
You know, oh my gosh. Okay. You're getting me go. You're getting me wound up here because, I have friends. I personally have friends who are incredibly talented people who've been unemployed for 12 months.
Hmm.
These are people who have been in technology for 20 years, senior people. And I get asked the question all the time. I said they say, "What do I do?" And I say, "Well, first of all, you know the definition of insanity, right?
Hmm.
Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. But the other part of it is that the muscle that I tell people they need to build a muscle of scrappiness,
Hmm.
right? Of flexibility, of an ability to learn, of being adaptable. And, because the world is going to change, it's changing right in front of our eyes and below our feet faster than it ever has. And it's only going to accelerate, right?
Hmm. Right.
And so when you said that, I'm just like, yes, yes, I agree, I agree.
Yeah.
And in a statement, just a quick thing about, um, do you know remember the story about Rip Van Winkle?
Hmm.
He, the guy who fell asleep, and I don't know, 50 or 100 years later, he woke up, and all
Hmm.
of a sudden the world changed. I heard somebody say once that if Rip Van Winkle were to wake up today after 50 or 100 years, he wouldn't recognize anything except one thing, and that's our schools. One teacher, multiple students, right? One teacher teaching the way they want to teach. And in the world that we live in today, we've learned that different people have different ways of learning, right? And yet still have this one way of teaching. And so, I mean, the whole world is changing right before our very eyes. And
It
and
it is. And you don't want to get me started on education because we're going to need another hour. Um, but I sit on the board of trustees at a university that has a very different approach, a bit more almost more of like a trade school approach. You get a bachelor's degree in 2.5 years. Um, and I really believe that we need a massive fundamental transformation of our educational
I
institutions.
agree.
I think they're broken. They're just absolutely broken.
And we have the opportunity to do it,
And now's the
right?
time. Now's the
Now's the
time.
time.
I
Now is the time.
understand why that would have been hard in the 90s or and other
Sure.
time periods. And it's going to be hard now, but now is when it needs to happen. And there are some innovative there, like charter schools, there are some AI based online schools coming out. People are working on this, but
Yes.
we need to fundamentally change how education works. Or in 20 years, like the new generation will not be ready for the real world. I don't
Right.
think it will be.
I totally agree with that. Well, let's you and I be part of that, shall we?
I'd
I
love
mean,
it. I love
seriously, seriously. I mean, this is, you know, I coined a phrase. Did I tell you this? I don't think I did.
it. Uh-huh.
I coined a phrase about, these years that we talked about from the PC to the internet and so forth. That over the years we've gotten so super intelligent, smarter and smarter and smarter. And the phrase that I coined was, "We've gotten so smart, we've forgotten our heart." And I think there's going to be a real renaissance of heart that comes back and I think AI is going to drive it. And as we move forward, I do believe in higher education. I do believe in higher education, but not for the purpose of learning what you learn. I believe in ongoing education to learn how to learn,
I've said
to
those
learn,
exact words. Learn how to.
right? To learn at a higher level.
Mhm.
But with what we have in technology in the world today, there's all kinds of different ways to accomplish that,
It
right?
doesn't, yeah, it doesn't have to
And
be
so,
a traditional 4-year undergraduate degree. Like it doesn't have to. When I graduated from high school, that was the only thing, and it's not the
right,
only thing anymore.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. And so, folks, I mean, as we move forward in this world, um, like Hunter and I were talking about, build that muscle flexibility of
Mhm.
adaptivity, of taking off your blinders and being able to see opportunities that come up that, if you have your blinders on, you won't otherwise be able to see. Hunter, oh my gosh, this has been such a wonderful conversation. Um, close it out. Close it out. Close this
Yeah.
out, and then and
Okay.
then I'm going to ask you how people can learn more about you, how people, businesses want to reach out to you. How do they do that? In addition to the show notes, but go.
For sure. Um, so some of this is scary, uh,
Totally.
like the Industrial Revolution, right? Jobs changed. Some people had skills that were no longer very useful, and they either had to learn new skills or they struggled. And so I get that. I'm not trying to diminish that. That's real. Um, but the other side of this could be so incredible. Just imagine, okay, what these tools are doing for us right now are saving what is probably the most precious thing we have, which is our time.
You bet.
We have a limited amount of time on earth to spend with our families, to do the things we love, to have adventures or whatever it is. And this is a gift that's giving us back this incredibly precious thing of our time. And the question, both on a personal level and on a business level, is what are we going to do with that newfound time? And you mentioned Renaissance earlier, which is what made me think of this. I think one of the things we're about to see is an incredible creative renaissance. How many people out there are thinking, and it doesn't have to necessarily be creative, but how many people are there that are thinking, man, I would 100% write a book if I had time. I would love to write a song if I had time. I would climb Mount
Yeah.
Kilimanjaro if I had the time. And what a beautiful thing that if this gives us our time back and we see a renaissance and things that are happening outside of your job, how incredible is that going to be? And one other positive note, and then I'll close it down, that I'm probably most excited about this is the eradication of diseases that have plagued us for generations.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yep.
also rare diseases. We have an economic system that makes it impossible for pharma companies to create drugs for rare diseases because the market's not there, right?
Right.
And this should all be, and I won't get into all that. And it shouldn't be private in the first place, but
Hmm.
it is now going to be economical for us to treat those rare diseases and those powerful diseases like cancer and all the rest. We get to see that in our lifetime. That's incredible.
Yeah.
What a
Oh,
blessed
totally.
time to be alive. Whenever things feel a little scary, I like to think about those two things, about this renaissance of free time and about the health of our friends and our family and all the rest of it. And that brings me great hope. I can't wait. I'm so excited. This is going to be such a ride.
That is amazing. That is amazing. I loved how you phrase that too. I mean, if I only had time to do this, if I only had time to do this, because the old saying slash cliche that says people don't regret what they do, they regret what they don't do,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And most people don't do it because they don't have the time. They don't have the time. And here we go. I mean, folks, we don't know what the world's going to look like. Um, and the very end of it, when we come out of it, I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be incredible. Um, the challenge is the messy middle between now and then, right?
Yes.
And so what I ask you to do is to, listen, rewind this tape. I mean, okay, I just aged myself, but go back and listen to this again, because Hunter just gave some amazing, amazing suggestions on things you can do and take away from this episode. Hunter, people want to get in touch with you. People want to learn more about you. People want to become part of your life. How do they do that?
Yeah. So reach out to me. Literally send me an email to hunter at barefootlabs.ai. Um, and what I ask you to do is mention that you heard me on this podcast. And if you do that, I promise I will respond to you. You don't need to be a potential customer or anything like that. But I get
Wonderful.
a lot of emails. And so make sure to call out if you
Absolutely.
heard me on this podcast. And I'm
Finding
happy
better podcast.
finding better podcasts. I heard you on that.
Yeah.
And I have a question, or can you spare a half hour to talk about this or my business or any of that stuff? I'm also very active on LinkedIn, so you can find me there. And I love talking about this stuff. So I encourage you to reach out to me. Um,
My gosh, Hunter, you have just blown the mind, blown the top of the heads off of a whole bunch of people, and we're going to spread this thing far and wide because there's a lot of people out there that need to hear what you and I just talked about.
mhm.
So with that, thank you. I would love to have you back sometime. I have a feeling this is not going to be the last time you and I see each other.
No.
And so, but again, thank you. I love you. God bless you. Thank you for joining us. And all of you out there, please share this. Please share this. It's about sharing, right? It's about helping people and lifting others. And you don't have to do anything, but just share this, and you will lift others out there. Okay. Thank you for joining us. I love you. God bless you, and we will see you next time. Bye.